So let's talk balancing equations, but when we're given a sentence and not the skeleton equations. We need to write the skeleton equation ourselves. And a couple things to note are our diatomic elements. So we want to make sure we've got these down first. So our diatomic elements are hydrogen. Oh, there we go. Hydrogen, nitrogen. Now I'm writing these H2, N2, fluorine, oxygen, iodine, chlorine, and bromine. There's a couple ways you can remember these. One, they form the number 7 on the periodic table, except for hydrogen. Hydrogen's off in the corner, but your other ones actually form the number 7 on the periodic table, and there's 7 diatomics. I've got a mnemonic device. Have no fear of ice cold bears, like, polar bears. So have no fear of ice cold bears. That's how I remember it. Or there's another mnemonic device, Uncle Hunkelbrith. So if you remember Hunkelbrith, HONCLBRIF. So, a couple ways for you to remember those. And what that means is when these are by themselves, like oxygen by itself, you're not going to write O, you're going to write O2. If it's hydrogen by itself, you're not going to write H, you're going to write H2. They come in pairs. This only applies to when they're by themselves, not when they're in a compound. So we'll see that worked out here. Okay, so we need to go through and write our skeleton. So it says when lithium hydroxide. Okay, first thing I need to do, write the formula. Lithium hydroxide. Make sure you check those charges. Lithium is +1, hydroxide is -1, so we're good. And I leave a little blank there, so I remember to balance it. Are added to a solution of sulfuric acid. All right, so since you're watching this tutorial, I'm going to tell you sulfuric acid is H2SO4. So we will learn to name acids. You'll be able to get that, but if you don't know how to name acids yet, H2SO4. Just take that one from me. It says lithium sulfate and water are formed. So they're on the other side. They're on the other side of that yield sign. They were formed. So lithium sulfate, if I balance my charges, that's going to be Li2SO4 because lithium is +1 and sulfate is -2. Sorry, I was supposed to say minus. So I got a +1 and a -2 and water. So hopefully we know water is H2O. Okay, that's the hardest part, right? Because we're good at balancing. We got the balancing part, but writing the skeleton can be a little tricky. But you're just using all the skills you learned from Unit 5 and combining them with what we learned in Unit 6. So I've got 2 lithiums here, 1 lithium here. So I'm going to put 2 out front there. So I've got 1, 2, this 2, +4, 6 oxygens, 4, +1, 5 oxygens. Okay, I need another oxygen, so I'm going to put 2 there. So that's 6 oxygens. Let's check our hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrogens. So we're good now. So you'll see I balanced that without drawing it. You might need to draw it out. That is totally okay. If you need to draw it out, you draw it out. You do what you have to do to get this equation balanced. We're really just focusing in on this tutorial on how to write the skeleton. I'll leave the balancing up to you. You can watch the balancing tutorial on that. Okay, so this one, a piece of sodium metal. So that's just by itself. It doesn't say sodium chloride or sodium oxide, it just says sodium metal. So just Na is dropped into water. So it reacts with H2O. Sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas are formed. So again, that are formed, they're on the other side of the arrow. Sodium hydroxide, we check our charges. That's a plus and a minus. And hydrogen gas, here's your diatomic. Hydrogen, it's by itself, it's one of our diatomics. So we don't write H, we write H2. Notice that that only applies when it's by itself, when it's hydrogen gas. So if the question says hydrogen gas, nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, it might not necessarily be gas. For iodine, it would be liquid, but for the rest of them, it would be gas. So if you have any of those gases, they're diatomic. Okay, and then again, we balance. So I've got 1 sodium, 2 waters, 2 hydrogens, and 3 hydrogens. And then 1 oxygen, 1 oxygen. So I've got more hydrogens over here. And the tricky part is I could add more of this or I could add more of this. But what I like to think is, well, I need my number of hydrogens to be even because they come in twos over here. So I'm going to add another hydrogen over there. But if I add another hydrogen over there, I'm going to need another sodium. So I'll put that there. So I've got two sodiums, two hydrogens, 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrogens. Oh, because I should make that a 2. So now I have 4 hydrogens, 2 oxygens, and 2 oxygens. And we're good. We're balanced. Again, you could write a 1 here, but convention is to leave that blank. Just like we don't use a 1 as a subscript, we don't use 1 as a coefficient because it's implied. And that's writing skeleton equations and balance.